I hope you saw the difference with and without CSS. My dear friend, welcome to the first session on Cascading Style Sheets or CSS. CSS is the bread and butter for a front-end developer if in case he wants to create attractive websites. In fact, you are so addicted to using the internet only and only because of one reason, which is the experience, the visual experience that you get when you visit the best websites that you're so used to using on a daily basis. If I have to give you a few examples, let me take you to my browser. I'll just increase the size a little bit. My dear friend, this is, can you guess which is this website? My friend, this is your favorite social media website, Facebook, without CSS. Do you want to see what it looks with CSS? This is what it looks with CSS. As you can see, the huge difference styling can bring to a website. Let me show you another website. This is YouTube without CSS. I know your eyes can't believe it. Let me show you YouTube with CSS. As you can see, there is a huge difference. Let me show you another example. This is LinkedIn website without CSS. Unbelievable, isn't it? The same LinkedIn website, when applied with CSS, looks completely different. Why all that? Let me show you the Roman website without CSS. Unbelievable, isn't it? If I scroll down, as you can see, it's just plain text. But if I apply CSS to it, magically, it becomes a beautiful website. So I hope without a doubt I've been able to clarify to you what is the advantage that CSS brings to the table and how important styling a website is. HTML can only present the data, but CSS can present the data in an extremely stylish manner. So what are you waiting for? Join me in this adventure to master CSS. I hope you had a wonderful introduction to what is meant by CSS and what a difference it makes to the visual appearance of a website. Now it's time for us to get technical. Let us assume this is a simple web page which I have created, and clearly if anyone has eyes, they can see that there is no CSS here because it is such a plain website. If I increase the size a little bit, you can notice I've told full stack web development, after which there is a paragraph, again there is a heading, after which there is another subheading, something about front-end technologies. If I scroll down, there's something about back-end technologies. If I scroll down, there's something about database technologies, so on and so forth. In fact, if I just scroll back completely on top and if I just start inspecting these elements, you can clearly see that this is the body. In the body, full stack web development is nothing but your header, after which you have a paragraph tag, after which you have another header tag, after which you have another header, of course, which is smaller in size. Again, you have a paragraph followed by an image. If I scroll down, you have your backend technologies, which is again a subheading, after which there is a paragraph, there is an image, again there is a header, there is a paragraph, and if I scroll down a little bit more, there is a image. So it's very straightforward, very simple. So if in case I have to just show you the code for the same, you can notice like this. If in case I take you to my code, this is the code for the same. Again, nothing complicated, my dear friend. You know doctype HTML to convey to the browser that we are using HTML version 5. You have your head, inside which you have your title, which is home page, and in the body I have my h1 tag, p tag, h2 tag, h3 tag, p tag, images, etc. This is very simple, straightforward code. But my intention here is not to speak about the HTML part because you have understood it in depth. Now I want to style this plain page, right? For styling, we use something called as your Cascading Style Sheets or CSS. Now you must understand, there are three ways in which one can apply CSS to an HTML page. The first way is something called as Inline Css. The second way is something called as internal CSS. And the third and the most popular way is called as external CSS. In fact, I'm going to demonstrate all these three ways to you. And this would be a good starting point for you to understand CSS, right? First of all, whether it is inline or whether it is internal or whether it is external is secondary. You must understand what is the syntax of CSS first and foremost. See, I want you to visualize CSS as a set of rules that you are telling to the HTML that hey HTML, this is how your style should be, right? So it's like a set of rules. Now, traditionally the syntax is like this. You have a property followed by a colon followed by value. Now this property can be many things such as color, such as font family, such as background. There are n number of properties. I will be explaining all of those properties in depth to you when I take up CSS properties. Now every properties has its own set of values. For example, if it is color, it can be red, green, blue, yellow, orange, pink, purple, indigo, lavender. There are n number of color options that you have with you, right? Now, not only can you have one set of property value, you can have multiple property value pairs like this. But if you have multiple property value pairs, then you must separate them using a semicolon. Between the property and the value, you have a colon. But between the property value pairs, you must separate them using a semicolon, right? Anyways, let me apply a few property value pairs to the simple tag, which is my h1 tag. If I just increase the size of this code a little bit, you can notice it is in this h1 tag that I want to apply few styling properties. Out of the three ways available to me, I'm going to use the first way, which is called as Inline Css. To this line, I'm going to tell what is the CSS rule it should apply. And how will we do that, Rohit? If you ask me, it's very simple, my dear friend. You must give it in the form of an attribute. Now, which is the attribute to apply CSS inline? If you ask me, it is the style attribute. So watch it. I will go after h1, I will tell style. And there, within the quotations, now what I'm going to do is, my first property value pair I'm going to give. So what I want to do is, the text which is black in color, I want to change its color to red. Is that possible? Let's see. I'll just tell color, which is my property, colon, right? As you can see clearly, there is a colon. Automatically it is given. Now I will tell what is the value. The value, maybe I want it to be red. So I'll just tell red like this. I hope till this point of time it's clear. This is my first property. Will this get applied? Let us go to our browser and check it out. So if in case I take you back to my browser window, you can notice like this, it has changed. If I scroll on top and if I refresh it, full stack web development has now become red in color. Do you see how applying CSS can immediately change the appearance, right? Now what if for my h1 header, I wanted the background to be black in color. Is that possible? Definitely. If I have to show you, I will just go back to my code, and in my code there I will just, now tell me, I have to give one more property value pair. What did I tell you? You have to, if you're giving multiple property value pairs, you must separate it using a semicolon. So a semicolon I will put. I will leave a space and there I will tell background like this. Background hyphen color, right? That is what I want to change. Now, what will you give? Maybe I want it to be black, so I will tell black like this. If in case I do this, will it change, you might ask? Definitely. So watch it. If in case I go back and if I refresh it, you can clearly see that it has become black in color, right? Now, I just want to directly show you that you can change some CSS and it will reflect here. For example, if I just bring my editor here, right? If I just bring my editor here, now let me just step into my editor for a second. What I'm going to do is, this red, I'm going to make it as blue. That color red, I will make it as blue. If I make it as blue and I just save this, and if I go back to my browser and if I just refresh it, can you see immediately this has become blue? Are you able to see what I'm trying to tell? Similarly, if in case you want, you can bring it back to red. I will just make it as red like this. And if in case I just refresh it, clearly you can see it has become red back again. Great. I'm just going to replace my editor back. So what I want you to understand is that definitely CSS can change the appearance. Now let us do something a little bit more interesting. For example, I want not only this red and background color to be black, I also want this text to be aligned in the center. I want it to come to the center. Can we do this? Let me just drag back my editor for your reference. Here I'm going to add one more property here. So watch it, I will just scroll it to the right side, and maybe I will just press enter there, or for example, maybe it is not visible to you back here. Why don't we directly go to the editor itself and change the code so that it is better visible to us. So if I take you back to my editor directly, then what I want you to understand is, you have told background color is black. Wonderful. Now next I'll put a semicolon. After putting a semicolon, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more property value pair. Maybe I will tell like this, font family. That is a property. There are various font families. Few of them I'm just listing it out for you here. You can choose whichever you want. I'm going to use a simple thing. Maybe I will tell cursive like this. Again, don't worry. When I take CSS properties in depth, I will explore all of this in great detail for you. But as of now, we have done cursive. Also, I want it to be aligned in the center, right? So that also I'm going to do. I'll just go there and I will tell text align, colon, and I will tell center like this. The moment I do this, let's see what changes. If in case I go back to my browser window and if in case I refresh, as you can see, not only has the font changed, my text has also got aligned. That's what I told you. HTML is about placing the data. CSS is about presenting the data in a very, very visually pleasing manner. It is about styling the content the way you want, right? There are a variety of things we can do. Why don't we start styling this page a little bit that way? Now, let us assume I want all my paragraphs, wherever I have paragraphs, I want it to be styled in a certain way, right? I want a certain background color for that element. I want a certain font family for that element. I want a certain color for that element. How are we going to do this? Simple, watch it. Now, you know only one way to apply CSS, which is the inline CSS. But inline CSS has a certain limitation. Watch it. If I go back to my code, there what I'm going to do is, now this is my first p tag. See, full stack development refers to. I want to apply styling to it. So I will go inside that p tag there, and there I will tell style. I'll just tell style like this. After which, first thing is color. Maybe some color I will give. Blue. Wonderful. Colon I will, semicolon I will put. After which, next property value pair. Maybe I want background color. So I will tell background color. And maybe some background color also I will provide. Yellow. Okay. Next, I want to provide a certain font family. That also I will provide. Font family. Right? And font family, something I will give. Maybe sans serif like this. There are different font families. I will explain all of them in detail to you. Also, maybe I want, I think that is pretty much sufficient. You have your color, you have your background color, and you have your font family. Now, how will this change? Let us see. If I go back to my browser window, and if in case I refresh it, you can notice clearly it has changed. If I increase the size a little bit, you can notice full stack web development. The font, clearly that font, this font is different. That background color, this background color is different. This color of the text and that color is also different. Any confusion till this point in time? Okay, maybe we will change the color of the text as well. So here let me just let me just directly go back to my thing. Here I will also add, okay, so maybe I will just change the color from blue to something else just to show you that definitely it can change, right? So any other color I will put. Orange if I tell, and if in case I go back and if in case I just refresh it, you can notice it does definitely changes. But again, you can notice that you're not able to read this properly. That is why for a front-end developer, it is very, very important that he thinks creatively. He thinks aesthetically. He thinks in terms of color combinations, what works, what doesn't work. Of course, there are different ways for you to take predefined color combinations available on the internet. You don't have to use your brain too much, but definitely CSS gives you an outlet for your creativity, and your creativity is the limit, right? Any which way, I'll just go back and change it to the original color. So that was better combination. I will make it as blue itself. Wonderful. Now I want you to understand. You have multiple p tags. See, if I scroll down, you have another p tag. If I scroll down, you have another p tag, another p tag. Now all of them I wanted to be styled in a similar way. Now this is where the limitation of inline CSS comes into the picture. Because if I scroll on top, here whatever I have provided as my CSS rule will only and only apply to this line, which is this p tag. Only to this p tag it will apply. It will not apply for the p tags below. It will not apply. So what to do, you might ask? Well, that is where, my dear friend, we have to use the next way of applying CSS, which is called as your internal CSS. How to apply internal CSS? Let me show you. But if you do not use internal CSS, see how complicated life will be. What you'll have to do is, you'll have to go copy this style, right? This complete style I'll have to copy. And that inside every p tag you have to keep repeating. I will paste it there also, inside the next p tag also I will paste, inside the next p tag also I will paste, like this, right? Inside the last one also I will just paste it. Unnecessarily the same code you're repeating. Will this achieve your expected requirement? Definitely. If I go back to my browser window and if in case I just refresh it, you can notice that yes, all p tags have got styled that way. But scroll down, all the p tags have got styled that way. Of course, one more p tag was remaining. I will go put for that as well. But anyways, you get the point. It will apply for all the p tags, but you are repeating code. Is there a better way to do it? Yes. What is the better way? Internal CSS. How to apply it? Let me show you. As one can clearly see, using inline styling is something which gets complicated because as you have tags of the same kind, the same nature, you have to keep repeating your code and it makes no sense. A programmer or developer always prides in the fact that he follows the dry principle or the do not repeat yourself principle. But here, unfortunately, as you guys can see, we are repeating the same piece of code again and again and again. Is there a better way to do things? 100%. If in case you make use of internal styling, then this thing can be completely taken care of. Now, how do we use internal CSS? Very simple. For that, you have to take all your CSS property value pairs and place it inside a certain tag by the name of the style tag. Appropriately named it is. Now, where do you think this style tag resides, my friend? My friend, the style tag always and always lives or resides within the head part of your HTML. It's inside the head that you have to put. So inside head, it is not only title, not only meta information, but also this internal CSS is also placed inside head. So watch it. What I'm going to do is I will go inside head. After title, I'll press enter, and there I will just open and close my style tag like this. This is my style tag. Right, inside that, what I'm going to do is, here I should be placing my CSS. Now let us look at it one by one. First, including h1, everything I want to put it here. What will you do if you ask me? This color till this text align center, I will just cut it. I'll remove that style equal to, because I don't want to use inline CSS anymore. Next, I'll go inside that style and there I will paste it. Now, to make it more readable, let me just press enter and make it one below the other like this. Any confusion? Now, I want you to think, my dear friend. Now, these properties, right? Color red, background color, your font family and your text align center. Now, on which HTML element should this be applied on? Can you tell me? On which element should it be applied on? Yes, you're telling me it should be applied on H1. But I'm asking you that you know because you cut and pasted it here. But your browser, your HTML does not understand that. Is why using internal CSS is very different from using inline CSS, because inline is quite straightforward. See, inside P you told this is P style. P will follow it. But here you did not tell who this styling belongs to. Is why syntactically what you must do is club all of them together by putting it within parentheses like this. I'll put it within brackets. Watch it. Like this, I'll just put it within brackets. Here also I'll put the closing bracket. Great. Next, what I'm going to do is I will now tell which is the HTML tag on which this styling should be applied to, and I will go outside the opening bracket and tell H1 like this. Any confusion till this point of time? Now it knows, oh okay, this styling belongs to H1 tag. Interesting, isn't it? Similarly, I want to now give the styling information for all the P tags. So what are we going to do? I will go inside after H1, I will press enter, and there I will tell parenthesis like this, or before that I'll just go copy this style information. So whatever is there, I will just cut that, remove that style and that brackets and all that. Yeah, and I will just go there and I will press enter, paste it. I will also just make it one below the other. Any confusion till here? Now club it by putting it within brackets, curly braces. Make sure you remember that. Next I will tell who this belongs to. So I will just tell P like this. That's all. Now I'll just indent it correctly. Now let us see whether this works or whether any change happens. But before I show you the output, I want you to understand, the moment you told that every P tag must be styled using these properties and values, my friend, now you don't have to redundantly keep writing the same code. If I scroll down, now what is the need for you to give the same styling information inside this P tag? Let me remove that. What is the need to tell inside this P tag? I'll remove that. What is the need to tell inside this P tag? I'll remove that also. I hope you're able to think. Now there are other tags as well, such as there is the h3 tag, there is the, all these h3 tags are also there. So let me show you, or let us also style the h3 tag as well. How are we going to do this? Simple. If I just scroll on top, then as you can see, this is the styling information that I'll give for both the h2 and the h3 tags like this. Even for h2 tag I will provide. So here h3 I've told color is black, font family is Helvetica, background color is violet. Similarly for h2, between maybe on top of h3 you can put it. Like this I'll put it. Any confusion till this point of time? I'll just indent it correctly. Now what I want you to understand is that this is what we call as your internal CSS. Internal CSS is always placed inside the style tag. Style tag always lives inside the head, right? Now how you must perceive this or understand this is, all of my h1 tags in my HTML file is going to be styled like this. All the P tags are going to be styled like this. All the h2 tags are going to be styled like this. All the h3 tags are going to be styled like this. Really, you might ask, watch it. If I take you to my browser window and if in case I just refresh it, you can clearly notice this is how the output looks like, right? So it works, beautifully it works. So not only have you understood CSS, you understood how to apply CSS using the inline methodology and using the internal CSS methodology as well. But there is one last type of CSS called as external CSS. Now, when should one be using external CSS, you might ask. For example, let us assume I have another web page like this. This is that web page. If I'll increase the size a little bit. So I have artificial intelligence, a paragraph below that. I have categories of AI, I have strong AI. If I increase the size a little bit more, as you can see, there is a paragraph for that also. There is an image, then there is something called as weak AI, and there is a paragraph for that as well, and there is an image below that as well. I hope it is clear. Now, this is also nothing but a collection of your h1, h2, h3 and p tags, right? Now, I want to style it in the same way that I styled the other web page, that is the previous one. Watch this. In the same way I want to style it. Any confusion till this point of time? Now, just because of the way you have written CSS, there is no way for you to reuse the code. You have to retype the code. For example, if I take you to my editor, this is the code for whatever I was speaking about. This is the code for that page. As you can see, this is the head. Inside the head, I have not given any title. Maybe I'll give a title as well. I'll just call it as AI like this. I'll just call it as AI. AI. Any confusion till here? As you guys can see, this is the code for that page that we just saw. Very straightforward page. Your doc type HTML, your HTML tag. Inside the head you have your title, the body. Inside the body of your h1 tag, p tag, h3 tag, h2 tags, all of this you have. But there is no styling related information here. But I want to style it. Now, I want to style it in the same way I styled my previous page. Now I have two options. Option number one is to do inline CSS. But you know that would not be a wise approach. The second one is to use internal CSS. But irrespective of whether it is inline or internal, I have to rewrite code. There is no way for me to reuse code. For example, if I just go back to my previous code, this code, I can't reuse it there. This code has to be present there as well. I can't reuse it. So watch it. I have to just cut this entire style tag, copy it. I'll go back there, and inside the head, that is where the style resides. So I will just paste it there, right? Now, will it get styled? Certainly. Watch it. If in case I go back to my browser window and if I refresh it, certainly styling has happened. It has happened in the same way as what we have previously done as well. So watch it. If I scroll down, certainly styling has happened. But now what I want you to understand is, don't you think the same piece of code, you have written it twice? Is there a way in which the CSS code written once can be reused by multiple web pages? What if I had 100 such web pages, all of them required the same styling? Does it mean that I have to go and repeatedly keep pasting the code inside every individual web page? There has to be a better approach, isn't it? And that better approach is nothing but your external CSS. How to use this? Let me show you.